Hey everyone, this is Aaron Fink from Grapple City Rewind. If you like what you hear on this episode, give us a follow, leave a review, cut a promo on us by calling 626-657-SLAM. Anything goes. It'll go a long way in helping us to be discovered by more wrestling fans like you. Cue that music.
Hello and welcome to Grapple City Rewind, taking you all the way back to the classic pay-per-views that have shaped wrestling history. Today we will be rewinding to WCW's Halloween Havoc 1996, a Slim Jim sponsored fever dream straight from Las Vegas, Nevada, with a pretty interesting mid-card, undercard, and Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and Elizabeth and all them on the main card, on the main event. Before we get into all that, I'm Bradley Palermo, here as always with Aaron Fink, and we should probably talk a little bit about AEW this week because it is the week of All In. What do you think, Aaron?
Let's do it. Why not?
I was at Collision 300 and Dynamite 300. Collision 100 in Ontario, California last week for a little AEW TV show. That was kind of fun. I really liked the match with FTR versus the Outrunners. FTR is like my favorite.
Yeah, you liking them as heels now?
It makes me kind of sad because it's weird. I mean, I got into them as baby faces and I still cheer for them. I like their music. I like those guys. And I still like them, but to me, they're still baby faces, even.
Yeah.
So I refuse to get behind the whole Outrunners thing. I feel like they kind of have FTR's spot, they're the new retro classic tag team guys. I like that both these teams are sort of old school tag teams. Nothing fancy, really, like headbutts off the top rope and just brawling and stuff. Dude, I saw one thing that I haven't seen before at a live wrestling event. I've seen people blade themselves several times, but I saw Dax blade one of the Outrunners. Excuse me. He had him in a headlock, and the camera wasn't on him, but it was just right there in the ramp. He takes out the little blade and just starts kind of bouncing it on his forehead a little bit. And have you seen that where they blade each other before?
I've never seen it. The only time I've ever even heard of that is when Abdullah the Butcher used to do it, and we both know how that turned out.
Yeah.
If anyone's never seen the Dark Side of the Ring episode about Abdullah the Butcher, that is a good watch. He was a massive heel in, I think, was it even the late 60s, 70s, 80s, even up to the 90s. He was famous for having his fingertips taped up with blades in them, and he would just run his fingers over someone's forehead to blade them. Super crazy.
Someone told me the other day that WrestleMania 13, the juice that Austin got in WrestleMania 13 was via Bret Hart blading for him. That Austin never bladed. And Bret Hart was like, "I've got you." So that'd be interesting. I mean, if that was the first time Stone Cold really bled on purpose, that's fascinating. But also, Abdullah the Butcher, I have his client. He's an interesting guy. He came to one of our shows at the shop and got drunk and peed in the sink while I was playing. But he has this thing where he has a friend of a friend. Abdullah the Butcher hangs out somewhere in Atlanta where this guy used to live. And when he gets drunk, he likes to call Abdullah the Butcher. "You remember me?" He's like, "Yeah, I remember you." And
he's got such a funny voice too, Abdullah. It's so funny. You see these crazy, scary guys back then who, I mean, the heat that heels used to draw back then. When you look at it now, you think it's insane. How could this even happen? People were threatening wrestlers with guns, with knives. People were scared of Abdullah. He was a very scary dude. And it's just crazy to think about how different it is now. It's almost like bad guys in wrestling don't really have heel heat like the old days. There's pretty much no one that ever,
Well, yeah, we boo, but we kind of smile when we boo and stuff. It doesn't really.
I think MJF probably, before he started doing all of the comedic shit with Adam Cole, which I enjoyed for what it was. But before that, I hated him. Like he really annoyed me. And I think that's probably the closest anyone's ever come to in the modern era of being actually hated and hateable. But then as soon as he left and came back, everyone started cheering him. And now it's like, oh, we like him. We don't hate him. We like him, hate him.
Yeah, it's like I wanted him to lose back then, but I had like a lot of respect for just how big of an asshole he really seemed to be. And people would say, "Oh no, he's really open to like critique and criticism from the veterans and this and that." And you're like, really? Like, I just believe him. I just believe this character, MJF.
Yeah. I mean, it's great that he does that, but I don't necessarily need to know that. I would just as rather assume that he is always the same guy that we see on TV.
Yeah. I mean, he sold it to me and I bought it, so but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he still does it. When he goes to signings or whatever, people will come up and he'll be an asshole to them, but they're not reacting the way someone would react in 1985.
Right.
They're like, "Oh, MJF was an asshole to me. That's awesome."
Yeah.
It's just not the same. I kind of miss it. I mean, not that this pay-per-view that we watched was any indication of real heat, but AEW, I'm excited about All In. It's their biggest show of the year. They're having it in the United States for the first time. This is the third incarnation of All In, and man, there's a lot of matches. I guess maybe we should talk about them. Why don't we do the old prediction game?
Well, I mean, let's see. We got Omega versus Okada for some sort of two of the many belts.
The unified.
It's like the International and the Continental or something. What the fuck?
Yep. They're unifying those two. I think they're calling it the Unified Championship, which I feel like is a dumb name, but I'm glad that they're making one title out of two, because I do agree with some of the sentiment online that
too many.
They have too many titles. It's not that they have too many. It's just that they don't mean anything, because there's so many of them. The only one that really means anything right now is the AEW World Championship, and we haven't seen the belt in 10 months, so we'll get to that. But Omega and Okada is going to be a good match. Can't deny that.
Yeah, I don't know if I have to predict. I guess Okada can defend it. He can defend it more. I think Kenny's kind of at that point where he's like sparing.
Yeah, I mean, he had a serious health scare with his diverticulitis, and he had surgery. I mean, I'm pretty sure the way diverticulitis works is they like remove a section of your intestines or your colon or some shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. So he can. I can't imagine that he's operating at 100%, like or whatever he was operating at before he had this surgery. I mean, he's got to be.
Yeah, I think it's that part of his career. You kind of help out where you can, you stay involved how you can, but. Yeah. You're not going to go out there like every Monday or whatever, every Wednesday night and like wave that thing around. So yeah, probably Okada. Tony Storm versus Mercedes Moné. Mercedes is getting like some serious heat, I think, with me with all those belts. She has like 6 of them, and it's becoming. She never loses. She's never lost in AEW.
Yep. That's correct. Yeah, she's definitely playing the heel role well, and the booking of her is supporting that. I mean, I think that people online calling her Mercedes Hogan and saying she never loses because she has creative control, I just don't. Maybe that's true, but that doesn't mean that she is like saying I want to win all the time and no one can ever beat me. If that's what they're doing, and it seems like that's what they're doing, the other companies have to approve of this, A, and B, it's all being led towards something. They're not going to do this for no reason. So I don't think Tony Storm's going to win. I think Mercedes is going to win and then have 7 belts. And then somebody is going to have to show up either at All In or very soon after, and to make the crowd, the fans think, okay, there's the person that will finally dethrone her or start the descent.
It's funny watching her put on all those belts, like, and all the refs helping her and stuff, because they're just falling off left and right, upside down, like
ridiculous.
Coming unbuttoned. It's like, I mean, it is a pretty funny gimmick. I don't know anything about what's real or what's fake about her creative control, but what's presented to me is like this. What's presented to me has me responding. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't like her. Exactly. I mean, she does good work in the ring. No one can deny that.
Yeah.
And her in-ring work has gotten better since the first match that she had in AEW.
She's had some pretty good ones recently, but mainly what was it? All these fucking pay-per-views have like similar names. Was it like Revolution I went to? That was a good match she had versus Jamie Hayter.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, she's had a lot of good. The one she had against Mina Shirakawa, I think.
Yeah.
Wasn't that last week?
Yeah,
Weren't you
I
there?
was there, yeah.
I think that was pretty good too.
That was good too. We don't have to go through all of them, but Moxley versus Adam Page, like that's where we're gonna get a title change, I think.
I hope so. I mean, I would be disappointed. It's just hard to tell. I mean, I guess the one thing that AEW is doing great right now is they're not showing their hand. I don't really know what's going to happen. I think if Hangman were to lose after the promo that he gave you on Wednesday, I would, as a Hangman fan, I'd be like, well, I don't believe anything this guy says anymore.
Right.
If he, is like, you're gonna have to kill me for me not to, walk out there the AEW champion, I'd feel pretty bad about Hangman. So my hope is that you're right, that Hangman finally dethrones Moxley. We get to see the belt again, but there's also a world where he doesn't. And
it's no DQ, right?
I think they said it's a Texas death match now.
Yeah, and so you're going to get all the heroes from the babyface locker, Will Ospreay, and all these guys are going to be.
I hope so. Yeah, it's it'll be lots of interference, lots of run-ins, everything legal because it's a death match, and just as likely as Hangman winning is Hangman not winning, and there being this dark cloud over the end of the pay-per-view, and that could be the perfect time for Darby to come back, or whoever is actually gonna have a chance to come back, make that last little.
Yeah,
I'm surprised we haven't seen Darby yet. He's back from Mount Everest.
Yeah, is he back? Because they were like,
he's not on TV yet, but he
planted the flag, and they were like, I hope he's on next week, and people were like, you don't know how this works. You have to walk back down. Takes like months to come back. So
I'm pretty sure he's already back. I saw a video of him doing some dumb stunt shit. He's back, I'm pretty sure.
We need Eddie Kingston to come back at some point.
I do like Eddie Kingston a lot. Yeah, that'd be cool. I doubt it, but I love Eddie.
And now it's time for the rewind.
All right, so today we're talking about Halloween Havoc 1996. This was in Las Vegas, Nevada at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. There were 10,000 people, according to Wikipedia, at this event, and 7-year-old Aaron was one of them. I went with my dad. He bought us tickets, and I think this was the second wrestling show I'd ever been to. The first was a Clash of the Champions, I think, earlier that year. So yeah, little 7-year-old me was pretty stoked. I obviously didn't know anybody that well, but I had a lot of fun. And looking at the pay-per-view now, in hindsight, it's a pretty exciting time in WCW. This is just a few months after Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, formerly Razor Ramon and Diesel of WWF, had left the WWF, came to WCW as the Outsiders, and were essentially in storyline from the other company coming to take over. They were tired of the way things were going, and they were going to change it. So a few months before this pay-per-view, Halloween Havoc, was Bash at the Beach 1996, where Hall and Nash had been teasing a third man, who's going to be the third man to join them, and we found out that day that it was Hulk Hogan, and probably the biggest heel turn of all time.
Which was 29 years ago to the date of us recording. That was July 7th, 1996. We're recording on July 7th, 2025. So what a weird coincidence.
Yeah, and in just a few short months after that, the NWO had gotten their talons into the WCW. It wasn't just Hall, Nash, and Hogan anymore. By this point, they had brought over the Giant, who you might know as The Big Show, or Paul White. They also had the $1 Million Man as sort of a spokesman of the group. They had Six, who was X-Pac, or the 1-2-3 Kid in the WWF. And yeah, it kind of just seemed like every week on TV there was a new member of the NWO. And so this was a very weird crowd in hindsight, because they weren't super excited all the time. And they were excited for some of the NWO people, but not all of them. It was just like very split and kind of wonky to me. For the commentary team, we had Tony Schiavone, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. We occasionally had Mike Tenay. Actually, I think it was maybe just the first match that Mike Tenay was there. But first match of the night was honestly could be match of the night for me. Dean Malenko versus Rey Mysterio Jr. for the Cruiserweight Championship.
I feel like this one started off hot.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio Jr. is obviously incredible, and as a young guy, he's just so fast and crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about Dean Malenko, but he was a lot of mat work.
Yep, man of 1,000 holds is what they called him.
Yeah, I think to me he slowed down the match at some point to a point where I kind of lost some of that. When it lost some of that steam, it started to like bore me a little bit. It was like 20-minute match, and like I don't know, half of it was on the ground, sort of.
Yeah.
But there was Rey somehow switched masks mid-match without revealing his face. I mean,
yeah, that was kind of a interesting thing. The story, I guess, was that Dean Malenko had stolen his mask at some point, or a mask at some point in the past, and Rey was able to get it back.
And Rey was billed from Tijuana still back then. Nowadays, it's San Diego.
San Diego. Yeah,
that was interesting.
And it was billed as Rey Mysterio Jr., not just Rey Mysterio, because I think at the time his uncle, who was the original Rey Mysterio, was still wrestling.
Right.
And once he retired, I think that's when Rey Mysterio Jr. became Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, it was like, I think his uncle, it was like M-I instead of M-Y in the spelling, but it was like a small spelling change and added the junior, but yeah.
So it's funny that you don't know a lot about Dean Malenko, because I love Dean Malenko. I feel like your boys FTR probably love Dean Malenko too. He feels his style is very much like an FTR style. He was always a super solid technical wrestler and was always wrestling the smaller guys, the cruiserweights. I thought for an opening match, this was like insane how good it was. A lot of impressive stuff, like you said. For me, Malenko taking it to the mat wasn't necessarily it wasn't as exciting for sure, but it didn't take me out of it because I just love both of these guys so much. And we didn't get to see, the thing about Malenko is Malenko was never in the WWF or the WWE. So you never really got to see him unless you were watching Territory Wrestling or WCW.
Right.
And now he is a coach or an agent working for AEW. So
cool.
Glad that his knowledge and stuff can still be passed on. I just really liked seeing both those guys together in the ring. So yeah.
Yeah. I think one thing I like about pro wrestling versus like legitimate fights or whatever is that they can always keep the pace. They can always have a spot that comes up, and it's like people are like, oh, do you watch UFC or whatever? I'm like, it's gonna end up being like a bunch of ground control for a long time. Like, kind of just give me the story, kind of. So sometimes when I feel like I'm watching a fight, it's like it makes it feel, I guess, legitimate when you're doing all the groundwork. But also,
you just gotta find the balance.
I was kind of like, man, this is gonna be crazy, and then I was like, oh, you really slowed that shit down. But then we got to a backstage promo, Jeff Jarrett with Ric Flair. And, we've seen Ric Flair in various forms so far in the 80s. He was kind of calm and just like calculated in his promos. But now he's got the full like peak coked out madman energy, slobbering, wild. That we kind of associate with Ric Flair.
Yeah.
So, and Jarrett, we've seen a ton of, I feel like we've seen more Jarrett lately. And these old things.
The last three things in a row, both the WWF things and then this one. So this is the weird thing about how we watch stuff is this is before the last two WWF pay-per-views that we watched in time,
Right, yeah, for sure. And then we had, what was it, Battle for the Ring? Diamond Dallas Page versus Eddie Guerrero. So we get Rey and Eddie back to what?
I don't know what the ring part, like where they were like, oh yeah, there's some ring that Diamond Dallas Page took from Eddie Guerrero, but we've never seen it, and this match is for the ring or whatever.
Yeah, I don't really get that either, but
it's just but another good match. Yeah, we got, like you said, we got to see Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero right one after the other, and I think the following year, Halloween Havoc '97. its opening match is Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero. And that's a super famous match too, where Rey's in the the purple onesie suit thing. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh, that's a good match. Yeah, you should watch that.
So DDP strolls out rather with a lit cigar, and he's like a heel. Yeah, he's cool. I like DDP.
I love DDP. Yeah, I liked him even back then when he was supposed to be a heel.
Yeah, and like him and Eddie, they do like this chain wrestling, and it's good. It's like, it's fast, it's snappy. Like that's the kind of match I really like. I did think it was interesting though. What'd you say?
I just said me too. I like those matches also.
I thought the Diamond Cutter finish that DDP did to Eddie Guerrero looked great. And fucking Tony Schiavone, right? He's a dipshit. He called it a bot on the fucking pay-per-view. He's like, he had his hands up. It didn't look like he really hit him there. And then it was like 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, dude,
he got him.
It looked great. Like, you just fucking called it a botch on your own fucking TV. I was like, this is crazy. You're a dipshit.
It's funny. I was going to say the one thing I didn't love about the match was the Diamond Cutter. Like, I guess it's just because it's not what I'm used to. Yeah. And whenever I think of DDP versus Eddie Guerrero, you may have not seen this, and I don't remember what pay-per-view or show it was from, but they have a match in the future after this where DDP does like the coolest Diamond Cutter he's ever done against Eddie Guerrero, where he's like got him up on his shoulder and almost does like the Stormbreaker thing that Ospreay does, but then Diamond Cutters him out of it.
Yeah.
And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is not the match that I thought it was. Also, he was really slow with that Diamond Cutter, but I do see what you're talking about. Like it looked super intense. It kind of looked rough, which I guess made it more impactful.
You don't need the commentary to like tell you how fake shit is. Like you need them to reinforce that what's happening is like serious and real. It's like I feel like Tony Schiavone is just not the guy for this business. Like he's not good on commentary. He's good as like a twerp being interviewed or whatever, but I don't know. Fuck that guy. So
poor Schiavone. Leave him alone.
He sucks, dude.
He's fine.
You can tell the difference though when it's like JR or something who's like someone who's really good at making things feel more legitimate.
Yeah, when someone's really locked in. I mean, the thing is, Schiavone, I don't know. He was always good. Like that was it. He was never like, I don't think about WCW moments and hear his voice in my head. Not like I do with JR.
There's not a lot like memorable about him to me, and like even on AEW now, he's just what I mean. He's just kind of like
I don't like him on AEW right now.
I love my life. It's just like what wrestling is hilarious, or whatever. Like
this is great, guys. Yeah, not my favorite.
I feel like he doesn't really. It's like he got a job, but it doesn't feel like he has.
He has a ton of experience and knowledge that I'm sure goes very far in AEW. My personal opinion, similar to yours, is I don't think he brings a ton to the commentary table.
Right.
But, when I actually like him more on Collision when he's in charge, when he's doing play-by-play. But even still, I would much rather have a Michael Cole or Ian Riccaboni.
Yeah. Not that I know a lot of people that work over there, but I've heard that Tony Schiavone is very cool, very nice, very supportive.
Yeah. So like you keep him around.
So Jeff Jarrett versus the Giant with Ted DiBiase, the Giant being, Big Show or Paul Wright, like you said earlier, for a quick little match here. What did you think of this one?
Well, it was what was kind of weird and different is the way that the Giant entered the arena. Ted DiBiase was standing, I guess, sort of at the top of a concourse out in the fans, and gave a little introduction. And this was the same concourse that all of the NWO members would come through to enter the arena and participate in their matches. So yeah, Giant walks down through the crowd. I guess, they're trying to play up the fact that they're outsiders from another company who've come to take over WCW, so they don't walk through the stage and, the entrance ramp like everyone else does. And yeah, Giant got cheers, NWO member, definitely a bad guy. Although Jeff Jarrett is a member of the Horsemen, which historically hasn't ever been a babyface group. They've always been heels as well. So yeah, kind of this was the first match where I was like, I don't know who the viewer, am supposed to be rooting for.
Right. I think so. NWO is salty, right? That Jeff Jarrett didn't join the NWO. Mm-hmm. That's the whole angle right here. I thought it was kind of confusing too, because NWO are like, I guess like this tweener thing, like people buy their t-shirts, but they're like bad guys. But my biggest thing was like the Giant wearing, like cosplaying Andre the Giant's, like, one single shoulder singlet.
Yeah.
Is awful. Like that guy should have just been in like a tank and some jeans, just like something like a brawler look or I don't know, but like dressing him up like Andre the Giant from 15 years earlier was just like,
I don't think that lasts for very long, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure in a couple months he's got the NWO shirt and jeans just like everybody else.
Okay, yeah, well, that's what he needed.
Yeah, this was kind of a okay match to me. I mean,
we have Ric Flair out there. He low blows the Giant. It's a disqualification.
Yeah, so Giant wins via disqualification. Right. And then the Horsemen come out, and then there's a little bit of a brawl. Just kind of felt like if I had watched some TV leading up to this, maybe it would have been a little more impactful. But like, the one thing you can say about this pay-per-view as a whole is that there was very few times where they were catching the audience up to get them ready for a match that was coming. If they hadn't maybe watched, a few weeks TV prior, it was just like, okay, here we go. We're in the matches,
Yeah, I mean, Ted DiBiase would kind of talk shit from the audience on behalf of the NWO, like before the NWO matches, and kind of you get a little taste of what the beef is. But we had Chris Jericho versus Syxx next, another WCW versus NWO, of course, Syxx being NWO. Jericho's 1996 music is the best music he ever had. And I looked it up and I was like, who made this music? Obviously, Jericho's in like the shitty, like Red State rock band Fozzy.
Yeah.
With the embarrassing like lyrics that the crowd loved to sing for years at AEW when he came out. Super cringe. But this music was designed by the WCW house band. So I think that I need to look up more of what they made, because I actually liked Chris Jericho's music in this.
Yeah, I mean, he's so young here. He's not even Lionheart Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
And we had another little introduction from Ted DiBiase as before Syxx walked down the concourse through the crowd. This was the point in the pay-per-view that I really started to feel the spiritual succession of WCW into AEW. Not because I'm seeing Jericho, but just the vibe of it all. The crowd, the quality of the in-ring action being very solid, the loose story threads that are there, but at the time they're not. At the same time, they're not really dictating the matches that we're seeing, right? Like they're kind of just like, okay, NWO guy, WCW guy, and I don't know, based off of the way that they set it up and DiBiase set it up, like I didn't assume that Syxx and Jericho had been feuding on TV ahead of this match.
Right.
I think it's just a match that they booked because there's an NWO wrestler and a WCW wrestler, and then they can make it fit that narrative.
So who is Nick Patrick? Nick Patrick. It seems like the NWO has planted their own referee. He's out there with a neck brace.
Yeah. Nick Patrick is a referee. He was in WCW prior to the NWO, and you're absolutely correct.
Okay, so he does fast counts for Syxx and he's slow for Jericho. So I guess he's been bought by the NWO, right? That by Ted DiBiase.
I feel like the thread throughout the pay-per-view is anytime you see Nick Patrick, he's a complete piece of shit. Because he counts really slow for anyone who's not in the NWO,
right? And
then counts a lot quicker for people that are in the NWO. And I can tell you now, present day Aaron fucking hates this shit. Yeah. I hate this. Is the kind of thing, if I was an adult in the crowd back then, I would throw shit in the ring and be like, fuck you.
The referee does not need to be like a character with a side on the thing. I mean, it's like, it's fine. In AEW, we know like who Aubrey Edwards is, and
sure, and that's fine. We can know who they are, and they can.
But they don't run around and like try to throw a match or whatever. It's just unless a guest referee can do that like a little
Sure,
bit.
yeah. I
But
mean,
this is like ridiculous.
This became a part of the finish of the match, and the commentators like spoke about it. And I feel like,
yeah, I wrote down Nick Patrick buzzkill.
Yeah,
because that's how I felt about it too. It's just a shitty fucking way to tell a story that the referee's gonna.
And the thing is, it's like it works, right? You hate him, you fucking hate it, and that's what we're supposed to feel. We're supposed to hate it. So
yeah, he's this sloppy fat fuck with a neck brace on, and when he acts like his neck hurts,
little floppy counts.
Yeah, it's so stupid. But I mean, seeing Six and Jericho at this young age, I mean, the fantastic moves, the fantastic athleticism.
Yeah,
it was a treat to see them work until
until Nick Patrick started fucking around.
Yeah. Lex Luger and Arn Anderson was the next match, and you said before that Luger was better than you maybe assumed he was or remembered him as, and I agree. I was watching this one thinking about that, and I feel like he could tell a story, he could sell. I mean, I know he doesn't do a lot of moves, but it's not like he's just sitting there no selling and like standing there like sort of blank face, which is sort of how the story's told. Like Luger, he's a football player that just kind of had big muscles, but I was like, no, he did a pretty good job. And I mean, I know he's a fucking Hall of Famer and everything.
I mean, I kind of feel like, sometimes he stands a little too stiff. Like he just looks sort of out of place. He doesn't always look loose or comfortable. But this was another match where I thought to myself, man, maybe I don't know why I didn't give Luger the credit that he has earned and deserves, because this match was another good one, and Arn Anderson is amazing. I think this is our first Arn Anderson match since starting the podcast.
I like Arn Anderson in the way that I like Willie Mack and FTR and all these guys now. It's like I like them that they just look like a dude that's like headbutting people in bars. Like they're strong, but they're not like pretty boys. Like they really, Arn Anderson to me is kind of that like quintessential like 80s wrestler brawler type. Kind of looks just like cheeseburgers, beer, and fighting.
Yeah, Arn's another FTR guy. FTR love Arn. Arn and Tully.
Yeah, I really like him. I like that kind of wrestler. I just like those big, like scary farm boy fucking grapple guys. And, Arn was cool. It's cool to see him versus Luger. Two very different looks. Luger obviously is the muscly pretty boy, and Luger had a little promo before this one where I guess the big issue was Arn questioned his intestinal fortitude, which I just thought it was a funny thing to be repeating over and over again.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, what does that really even mean? Does that mean like how well you poop?
You can't stomach it.
Well, this match actually had a little bit of backstory. It's they told us on commentary that Arn had hit Luger in the back with a chair a couple weeks prior, and so Luger was mad. Which again, I'm like, that's so an AEW storyline. Like somebody attacked me, and now I'm gonna wrestle them.
Yeah. But Luger got Arn in that torture rack, and that was it.
He did, but not before Dusty Rhodes told some sort of story with the phrase "Bula Bula" in it. Did you hear that?
He kept talking about Bula Bula, and he's like, "That's what I'll say. Is I'll say when they say this, I'll say Bula Bula." Dusty Rhodes was almost
Dusty.
He's awesome, but he was almost not there on commentary. Like you don't hear his voice for like a couple matches, and then he comes in and starts talking about Bula Bula. I'm like,
he takes a break. He needs to take a little rest and recuperation, if you will.
That's a good Dusty Rhodes. I like it.
He says "if you will" a lot in this pay-per-view, and it made me laugh. Sometimes it fits, sometimes it didn't.
I thought I was going to get more from him, but he's great. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if you sort of kicked Shivani off to the side and he did the play-by-play. It would be great. His voice is hilarious.
And you know what? This was a match where I actually felt like I knew who I was supposed to be rooting for, because Luger got cheers. When Luger, fired up, the crowd was on his side. I don't Arn wasn't getting actively booed heavily, but I was like, okay, cool. I know who I'm rooting for here. The same is true about the last match. You were rooting for Jericho over Syxx, I think.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Everyone was cheering Syxx, because he's a WWF guy that came over. So Arn Spinebuster, I will say, is always absolute perfection. And anybody who tries a Spinebuster nowadays is probably looking at Arn because his always look good.
All right, so we go with Faces of Fear, which is, how do you say this? Ming, yeah. Faces of Fear, Ming and Barbarian versus the Horsemen, Benoit and Mongo.
Yep, the crowd was kind of tame on this. The Faces of Fear did a cool tag team powerbomb on Benoit from the top rope. And this, was definitely a very brutal match.
Oh.
Ming is also known as Haku in the WWF. What were you going to say?
Was that when Benoit took a superplex toss off the top rope?
Is that what it was? Yeah, a superplex toss into a powerbomb. I think that's what it was.
Like I don't see that very much. Like it's a superplex position, but he, while they're in the air perpendicular to the mat, he just flies off the guy's shoulders. Like what the fuck, dude? That was cool.
That was pretty wild. Yeah, and the crowd definitely came up for that.
Yeah, that was the thing. That was the best part of this one.
Yeah, I mean, there was a moment where Barbarian chucked Benoit backwards from the top rope, and he flew real far, like almost across the entire ring. And Ming, or Haku, as some people know him, is pretty infamous in wrestling, and many wrestlers have gone on record to say that he's probably the scariest and most imposing guy ever. Has the reputation of being the toughest legitimate fighter that has ever existed. And I did a little bit of research, and I've heard about this before, but we can now officially tell the story that on March 3rd of 1989, Haku Ming got into an altercation with some men at a Baltimore airport bar who called wrestling fake. And during the fight, Haku bit off the nose of one of the men. That is real and verified. And that's probably not the only instance of him doing some crazy stuff.
He's still with his wife that he married in 1977. The year that Punk broke and Elvis died. All right, I'm learning all kinds of stuff about Haku.
Haku's the man, dude. Yeah. He, I remember, what was it? There was a Dark Side of the Ring recently where they showed him that botched Shockmaster intro, the Stormtrooper helmet with the rhinestones, and he had never seen it before, and he's just belly laughing for a minute straight. So funny. Love Haku. So anyway, back to the match.
Yeah, there was a bunch of bullshit with you have Conan and Kevin Sullivan and Jimmy Hart. They're all sitting in the audience. Kevin Sullivan was the booker of WCW at this point, so he's kind of the guy that's in charge of all this chaos.
Is he booking in 1996? Really? It's not Bischoff yet?
Bischoff is overseeing the whole thing, but the head booker is Sullivan under Bischoff. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because you just read that book, so you would know. Yeah, Sullivan, Conan, and I think it was Big Boss Man, but I don't think his name was Big Boss Man. They were referred to as Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah.
And they interfered. I think it was after the match. The match finished with Steve Mongo McMichael using his Halliburton briefcase on Ming, and Benoit won with a pin after his flying headbutt. Then Conan, Boss Man, Kevin Sullivan come in, start attacking. It's just a bunch of chaos. The Horsemen show up. Yeah. And then we had another WCW versus NWO match. We got a little promo backstage with Harlem Heat. What do they call her? Sister Sherry and Colonel Parker. And then we got another little intro from Ted DiBiase for the Outsiders. Hall and Nash against Harlem Heat for the WCW Tag Team Championships. Right at the beginning of the match, Diesel and Razor chants from the crowd before the bell rings. I actually do remember being in the crowd for this match and participating in those chants.
Oh, that's cool.
And so this is the thing, right? NWO, looking back now, are clearly the heels, but they're the cool heels. So they're all getting the cheers. Hall and Nash were pretty much exclusively getting cheered from the moment that they showed up as the outsiders up until the point that everyone was tired of the NWO years later. Very slowly paced. They took their time. They were creating moments and letting things breathe. But again, like based off of what's happening inside the match, like the moves and who has control over the match, I couldn't really tell who the baby faces and who the heels were. They were both kind of being heel tag teams, you know?
Yeah, I wasn't really watching this as like wanting one to win more than the other. I was kind of more interested in like how Hall and Nash looked in the ring, how they worked together.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're still in their peak at this point, and they both look really great in there. You know, Nash doesn't do a lot. He's big and kind of throws a punch.
He's like 7 feet tall. Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of imposing. Does a choke slam, or whatever. But he's a man of a few moves.
Mm-hmm.
Which doesn't ever really matter to me. I mean, I'm more interested in the pomp and circumstance, the characters, the storytelling. But I am kind of interested, like, at least when I watch this, like, what are these guys, like, really doing in there? I see that Hall, like, does some crazy shit. Like, he can move fast. He does, you know, all kinds of, he does more of the spots.
Takes a lot of bumps, yeah.
And then when you watch Harlem Heat, like, what are the two guys' names again? I wrote them down here.
Booker T and Stevie Ray.
Yeah, so Stevie Ray doesn't really do that much. Booker T's like doing all the action. Mm-hmm, Stevie Ray's kind of like, it's kind of like the dead weight a little bit. So I was,
you could tell who became the single star, out of Harlem Heat, Booker T.
And they were real brothers, right?
They are real brothers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Booker T obviously went on to be very successful as a singles wrestler, and Stevie Ray did not. So I think we have our answer.
It's unclear why they had Band-Aids on both their noses. Did someone like walk up to both of them and like got one of them with his left hand and one of them with his right hand, like double punch?
I don't know. It's probably just part of the outfit. They weren't Band-Aids. They're like the things that you put on your nose so that you can breathe better. So your nostrils are.
Well, if they're brothers, maybe they have the same genetic,
the same breathing cavities. Problems.
Yeah, deviated septums or whatever.
Although I enjoyed seeing everyone in this match, like Hall and Nash as a tag team, Harlem Heat as a tag team, this was a terrible finish. Yeah. I mean, the basically what happened was, I think someone from Harlem Heat, Booker T, did a move on Scott Hall from the top rope, and Stevie Ray went to cover him. But Booker T wasn't the legal man, and the ref was just standing with his back turned to Scott Hall and Stevie Ray, trying to get Booker T out of the ring while Stevie Ray is pinning Scott Hall, and he just ignores, he just completely keeps his back to the action for what seems like 25 seconds. Yeah. And then Nash takes Colonel Parker's cane and hits Stevie Ray with it a couple of times, and Hall covers him. The ref finally starts to pay attention to what's happening behind him, counts the 1, 2, 3. Hall and Nash are the tag champs. I mean, what the fuck? That is just so lazy and dumb.
There was another dumb thing there where Hall basically sexually assaults Sherry, sticks his tongue in her throat. She gets kissed against her will. There was all kinds of weird shit. Yeah, but that's new champs. They switched the belts on that one. Harlem Heat were the champions. Now Hall and Nash are. I feel like a disappointing thing about the NWO era is they just fucking always win. And I think that was a trend that just goes through the whole...
It does. I mean, in the beginning, it kind of makes sense, right? Because they're trying to tell the story that Hogan is the puppet master. He's in control of the company. He's, manipulating everything. And the Nick Patrick thing plays into that too. He's bought a ref, this and that and the other thing. So in one sense, it does fit the story that they are taking over. They're being corrupt. They're doing bad things. But as you said, they continue to win so consistently for the next 3 or 4 years that it becomes a little exhausting. And, they had that moment, I think, December of 97 for Starrcade, Sting versus Hogan, where they had set it all up, where Sting was actually going to beat him. They were finally going to lose. It was going to be a big deal. And then it all got messed up for whatever the real reason was. We'll never know. But yeah, right. It's something that this was a really fascinating watch because people talk about this time as being so incredible and oh my God, it was the best and da 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 da. And I watch it now and I'm like, yeah, all right, it was fine. Like it's cool. I guess it was one of those things kind of like how I think I felt watching ECW Barely Legal, where when you watch it 30 years in the past, you're like, yeah, okay, I could see how that was innovative and different at the time, but now I've seen so much stuff since then that took the best parts of that and then made it better. That looking back now, I'm like, yeah, that was cool. I mean, like NWO is still dope, and I'll rep an NWO shirt, but I'm not like, oh my God, that was an incredible pay-per-view.
Yeah, I agree. I think when I was watching this, like this is a turning point, and I'm interested in sort of the history of wrestling, and obviously this is kind of taking WCW from their sort of minor league TV status, ramping them up to be like the big show, and but yeah, it's not that good. Like it's not like it makes way more sense than like AEW does now when their shit's not making sense. It's not like it seems like everyone's always on the same page. It's not like the matches are always good. It's not like things have changed that much. It's just we romanticize like the past. Like there's a lot of bullshit in here too, especially as we get to the main event that we're about to talk. But first we had a promo with Hollywood Hogan in the crowd. He's looked like he's lost some weight. He's got muscles, but he's less bulky. He's got the spray painted.
He's been filming.
Big gold belt, of course, with the NWO spray painted on it. He's got this terrible like 90s spiky hair that comes into play later in the match. He's not bald.
My God, dude. It was insane. I saw that.
Since he's been like 14, he's not bald.
I was like, what is that hair, dude?
And then he's doing a movie plug for something no one remembers.
Yeah, he was in a Three Ninjas movie that I definitely saw as a kid. Okay. And he had that stupid hair in there too.
Yeah, he's in full douche mode with the giant DiBiase. Virgil's hanging around.
Bobby the Brain was like, he must have used half a gallon of Rogaine.
Yeah. Bobby the Brain doesn't have the same spark in WCW that he did in WWF.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't he doesn't say quite as much. He doesn't seem, him and Gorilla always seem to have like a great fucking time, but he's just, I don't know. I guess the commentary was a little off for me compared to some other things we watched. But let me get to the World Heavyweight Championship. So Hogan, obviously the champion, versus Randy, the Macho Man Savage, or as I prefer to say it, the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Mm-hmm.
This was an interesting. Okay, so this whole thing is sponsored by Slim Jim. It's actually the official title is Slim Jim's Halloween Havoc '96. Savage comes out in a full Slim Jim themed outfit that says "Snap" into it. Fucking Slim Jim monster truck rolls in. The Slim Jim monster truck is wearing a Macho Man hat. It's got a fucking hat the size of a monster truck on top of a monster truck.
It's not street legal though.
Yes.
They made sure to point that out.
Right. And and somebody won the monster truck, right? Like,
yeah, they won a normal street legal version of it. Yes. That was in the beginning of the show. Yeah, Macho Man announced the winner of a Slim Jim monster truck.
Yes.
Oh, you forgot to mention they had Michael Buffer announce the main event, which is a thing that WCW liked to do. The let's get ready to rumble guy.
Yeah, did he not say that? But he had another.
He did. No, he did.
Oh, at the beginning they were like, for the millions at home and the thousands. Yeah.
Yeah, he did do that. It was kind of a weird, he said it at a weird time because Hogan's music was still playing. And normally they do that kind of stuff either before the entrances start or after they're already in the ring. So they kind of botched it a little bit. My God, dude. Hogan was a coward in this match. The first 5 minutes of this match certainly achieved the goal that I assume they were trying to achieve of making me hate Hogan.
Yes.
Because every single time Macho Man is ready to do anything, Hogan either rolls out of the ring, goes between the ropes. And I said, this is so dumb. Why is Macho Man not doing anything? That was, I think, the thing that bothered me the most is like, you're telling me that he's mad, that he's been harassed by Hogan for weeks, and he's so emotional that he might lose control, and yet he's not doing anything to Hogan for 5 minutes. Like, what is this shit?
This was a match where I just sat there because there's nothing really happening in this, and I just wrote down, I was like, I'm going to write down everything that Hogan does because I want to see, we always talk about Hogan sucks in the ring. In this 15-minute and 47-second match, like what does Hogan do? Now, I only wrote down his offensive moves, so not his selling or his bumps that he took. But there wasn't a whole lot of that either. But here's what it is. It's like 22 things. He does a headlock. He does a shoulder block takedown. He kicks. He rubs Macho Man's face on the mat. He punches Macho Man, slams Macho Man's head to the turnbuckle, chops him once, clotheslines him once, shoves him twice, punches him once, hits him with a chair twice, atomic drops off the barricade, chokes Macho Man, eye gouges him, punches him, head stomps him, punches him in the back of the head, and then punches him twice in the front of the head. That's all he did in the whole match. So he just did with a couple punches.
Hulk Hogan, you fucking suck.
I mean, there's like nothing happening there. That's probably the only time I'm gonna sit there and write down everything someone does in a match. But I feel good now that I actually have that visual aid. Like it's headlocks, shoulder blocks, kicks, punches, stomps. That's it.
And again, like not what he always did. He did more, like he didn't spend his entire career doing nothing. I think it was just at this point he's old and he's a heel, and the whole shtick of Hollywood Hogan is he's above everything, he's above everyone, he has all the power. I understood why what I was seeing was happening, but I didn't like it, and then I also felt like I went past the point of not liking it the amount that they wanted me to dislike it. It was like, I am actively not enjoying this because there is nothing happening.
And your main event is a fucking, WrestleMania 5 main event. Like it's tired. These two guys going after each other. Not to mention the 4 or 5 pay-per-views between WrestleMania 5 and this where it was Macho Man and Hogan or on the same side or opposite of each other. It's like, yeah, it's not that cool to me to like regurgitate old shit from another company. I don't know. Like,
I think it would have been fine if the match was actually interesting and not boring and stupid. I mean, I will say the toupee spot was dope. I take back my anger at the hair. The hair, I was like, what the fuck is he wearing? How that is not his real hair. And then later in the match, Macho Man actually ripped it off his head, and that was great. I was like, oh, okay, I see what you did there. All right, I pop for that.
Thinking like, there's no way he didn't get a hair transplant because it's, it's like you see him bald after that, and then it's like there's no. Sometimes when you're losing your hair, you can cut it short, and it's not quite as obvious because it's not all pulling down on your bald, shiny head.
Or you just do some magic,
I was like,
whatever.
I was like, this is before Topics existed, so you can't really mask it with powders. And I'm like, did his short hair really? I'm like, no fucking way. And so I was kind of, that was the one thing that had me interested also. I was like, what's going on with this fucking guy's hair? And then, when he pulled it off, that was good. And good on Hogan for letting himself be a little humiliated about that, Yeah,
I give him props for that. But, for right after or several minutes after that moment, I get annoyed again because they do this chair spot thing that makes no sense to me either. Macho Man has a chair, hits Hogan in full view of the referee, and the referee just looks at it, doesn't do anything. But then when Macho Man's going to do it a second time, then the referee grabs the chair, and it suddenly becomes a big deal. And then Hogan, hits him with something cheap and then does those 2 chair shots that you said, one of which the ref sees and does nothing about, and the second one which the ref does not see. But I was like, what's the point of that too? Like, why? We didn't need Macho Man to hit Hogan with a chair shot. You just needed Hogan to hit Macho Man with a chair shot, not in view of the referee. That's all that needed. If you want the crowd to be pissed off at Hogan, it just didn't. It was just extra for no reason.
Elizabeth came back. Speaking of, old shit from WWF, like that was also, I think, to me, it's not like you can't give her a job, but you put her with the same workers. You put her with her husband that she's been divorced for 4 years from.
Right. And had like domestic abuse problems with.
Yeah. It's like, you are just saying, well, what worked 7 years ago or whatever. And, doing it again, I guess that's the thing I don't like about Bischoff. Like, I feel like that's a lot of what it is. It's like, well, they're not as young, they're not as good as they were, but like, I'm just going to do what you did. And
Yeah, that's the stuff that never really amounted to much. It was all of the new and different stuff that made WCW exciting. And I think, despite the fact that this is already in the 83 weeks that WCW was beating WWF in the ratings, this is not really like, I don't know. I mean, I look back on this and I'm like, yeah, there's some cool stuff, but like, I'm already sick of Hogan. I think I wrote, Hogan is the corniest motherfucker ever, and adult me hates it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just so fed up with it. I'm like, nothing about this is exciting at all. I guess all I really wanted was just for Hogan to get his ass kicked. And that barely even happens in this 20-minute match.
And like the ref doesn't count Savage's pin because he's that same fucking Nick Patrick guy. He's his.
This finish would be, I think there'd be riots if this finish happened in today's day and age. Yeah. So the first referee in the match was not Nick Patrick. He gets knocked out by an errant punch or tackle from Hogan. And Nick Patrick saunters down to the ring with his stupid neck brace on, decides he's the referee. And then it gets really messy. Hogan gets some sort of, foreign implement from DiBiase. He tries to use it, but Elizabeth gets in the ring and takes it away. Macho Man gets the advantage and slams him, hits the elbow, and then Nick Patrick is down. He's counting 1, 2, and then as he's about to count to 3, his neck hurts so bad that he can't count anymore, and he stops counting, and everyone's so mad in the crowd, which makes sense. I was probably mad too as a kid and infuriated as an adult that this is somehow passable as story. And so he doesn't count to 3, and then Hogan does some stupid shit, and he magically can count to 3, and Hogan retains.
The NWO comes in and wakes up Hogan with an ice bucket, which was kind of embarrassing and stupid.
Yes, it was.
Hogan cuts a nonsense promo, and then Roddy Piper gets his WCW debut. He cuts a fiery promo claiming he's just as big of a superstar. He's just as big of a Hollywood actor. I would say Roddy Piper has been in some good stuff, so he's much more of a
much
movie
better
star,
Hollywood actor. Yeah.
Than Hulk Hogan.
Much better at everything than Hogan, if we're being honest.
And they, tease a future showdown. He brought some life back into the room. It did seem like a weird place for a promo to like set up something else at the end of a main event. Usually you kind of let the main events finish, like simmer and let that moment carry you to the end. But they made the end about Roddy Piper, which I thought was an interesting choice. It's cool. Like, I don't think I've seen Roddy Piper in person in a ring. I mean, I know we didn't wrestle here, but I don't think I've seen him. I don't think I've seen Macho Man wrestle Hogan. So you saw, a lot of legends that night. One thing Roddy Piper mentioned was that Hogan was never able to beat him. Is that true?
Yeah.
Did
I'm
Piper
not sure.
win all those old matches? I can't remember.
It never. I can't remember how many one-on-one matches they had. I would have to assume that he's referring to their singles matches, but who knows? The commentators verified that, but they could just be saying that for the sake of the story and the show. That would be an interesting thing. He did say he was shooting a little bit in this promo, which I thought was kind of funny for 1996.
To use like an inside term in the ring, he's shooting. Because we all know that like shooting straight means telling it like it is, but shooting as just like hey, I'm not working, I'm shooting, I'm not kayfabing.
Yeah, I am telling the truth right now, and that was what he said right before he said, I'm just as big a star as you are. I'm a multi-millionaire just like you.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the promo. I thought after the disgusting taste left in my mouth by the end of that main event, I was like, oh shit, Piper's coming. He's going to fuck you up. It did its job. What was strange, however, was the promo ran long and the pay-per-view just ended in the middle of them talking, which is disappointing.
So let's do the grapple grade, where we do fast forward, play, rewind. Fast forward being boo, play being yay, rewind being double yay. What do you think on this one?
I'm going to give this one a play.
Yeah.
I think it's fun to see this era of WCW with the NWO just starting out, but it's not really required viewing. I think that there are some really solid matches and you should watch them, but I don't think you have to watch this entire pay-per-view from start to finish. It's good, not great. What about you?
I give it a play, but barely. I was like teetering between fast forward and play. I'll say play on this. What I think it would have been certainly fun to be there. I think it's certainly like holds up on like a TV level as a pay-per-view. You know, its main event was kind of a promo. Its build main event was complete shit. The NWO always kind of won, so it was like it wasn't a lot interesting there for me. Some of it was regurgitated. I would say like, yeah, as like a person interested in wrestling history, I'm glad I'm glad I saw it, but it's not a whole lot to write home about.
I feel like for me, you watch the Dean Malenko Rey Mysterio match, watch the Syxx versus Chris Jericho match, and that's probably all you need.
All right, let's get into some listener correspondence. As always, you can contact us on IG and TikTok or whatever social media at Grapple City Pod, or you can leave us a voicemail at 626-657-SLAM.
Pick up the phone.
Cut a promo on us. Tell us what you thought of Piper's surprise return, or watch along before the episodes, and let us know if you have any thoughts, feelings, reactions. We always love to hear from you. I think today I'm hearing our voicemail. I'm going to pull one of these up. We got somebody calling in from an Iowa number. Let me see.
Nice.
Let's see.
Hopefully it's not my brother to talk shit.
Is your brother in Iowa?
No, he's in Chicago. Okay. But I think he might have an Iowa phone number.
Oh, shit. Okay, let me see.
Yeah, this is Mean Dan from Des Moines, and I've had just about enough of you two ham and eggers running your mouths on Grapple City Rewind. Aaron Fink, buddy, you sound like you read match cards off the back of a VHS box and think that makes you a historian. You ever taken a bump? You ever laced up a pair of boots?
No.
Nah, you're the kind of guy who calls a clothesline a lariat just to sound fancy.
Oh, jeez.
You're a walking Wikipedia article with no soul.
Damn.
Ouch.
Bradley Palermo? Oh, please. You come in with your spooky punk rock vibes like you're too cool to mark out. Meanwhile, you're breaking down 1993 Doink the Clown psychology like it's Shakespeare in the Park. Get real, man. You're not analyzing wrestling. You're just romanticizing your childhood trauma.
Oof.
Both of you sit there sipping your craft coffee, talking about work rate and booking decisions like you ever spent 1 minute in a high school gym eating a cold hot dog and watching real men bleed for this business. You ain't wrestlers. You're rewinders. And brother, you don't rewind history. You get pinned by it. So go ahead, break down your little pay-per-views. Talk about who had the best mullet or who cut the best promo in '89. Meanwhile, I'll be here in the real world where we don't just talk wrestling, we live it.
Jeez.
Now play my damn theme song.
Oh, wait, Dan, I have your theme song right here.
He has a theme song? Oh.
Yeah, I'm glad I've never had a
Did he send a theme song? Did he send a theme song?
No, I just had a sound effect. I think his theme song would have been much more grandiose.
Yeah.
Doink the Clown, it was a great ring psychologist. I stand by that. You know, he could really fuck with you.
He got you on
with
that.
Your head. Yeah. Yeah, he's got our number. So next week we're taking it back to summertime, and we're gonna watch WCW Beach Blast 92, which was June 20th that year in Mobile, Alabama. And, you know, I haven't heard much about it. I haven't watched this pay-per-view before, but I was trying to find like some interesting stuff that's like pre-NWO, pre-Attitude Era. Like my mood's kind of like I kind of want to get a little more old school. I saw that Ricky Steamboat and Rick Rude have an Iron Man contest in this one, which is interesting to me. And I heard that the Sting versus Cactus Jack match is good. Sting versus Mick Foley. The rest of the card didn't look quite as exciting to me, but I kind of want to highlight those two matches, see what's going on. And like, I know WCW did Bash at the Beach, but this is Beach Blast. So I don't know. I just kind of want to dip into that. It's been a while since we've gone that far back. So
yeah, let's do it.
Let's see how it goes.
Well, I guess that'll about do it on another episode of Grapple City Rewind. Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you in the cheap seats.
Adios.